And we're back with another episode of Jewel Von Jewels. Thank you all so much for being here today. I'm going to show you how I repotted my pepper plants. So I started off with a Miracle Grow brand of tropical potting soil. I like this potting soil because it has lava rocks in it, which is really good for aeration. It lets the water trickle down. It's really good with drainage and everything. So people use different types of soil, but I chose this one just for the fact that it was going to give me good water flow. It was going to allow the plant to breathe. And these peppers were planted back in January 19th, you guys, and it is now April 22nd. So if you look at the roots here, you can tell they were long overdue for potting. Once they start to circulate, like kind of twist up around each other, you know that they are thirsty and hungry. This potting soil also has little tiny beads that look like little yellow crystal beads, and those are packed with nutrients that can feed our plants for up to 6 months. So I really don't worry about putting fertilizer on any of my plants and things, because usually the soil that I purchase has it in it. And then there's also composting options and other things like that, but we'll get into that in another video. But so we went ahead and we smoothed out some of the soil, placed the peppers in, and then on the other side here, there's a big gap of where the soil doesn't cover the roots. So I'm just putting in some more soil just to make sure that it fully covers the roots. I like this because it provides stability. You'll see a little later in this video what I mean by stability when I use the soil to hold up the actual stem of the plant. So I'm just really moving the soil around, making sure it's packed in there nicely, spreading out the pepper plants because I want them all to be able to sustain. If you've seen any of my previous videos, you'll be able to notice how they each have to stand on their own because they each have their own root system. But since these are so intertwined together, they're going to be growing as a bunch. I don't know how dangerous this is going to be, but it's an awesome experiment that I invite you all to follow the journey along with me as we get deeper into this. I also have a few pepper plants that were just kind of separated but straggling on their own. So we're going to adjust the camera here, and we're going to put those pepper plants over here on the side. My planter is a little bit messy right now, but within the next few weeks, we're going to make sure every layer is completely filled with our different herbs and everything. So it's a beautiful process. So right now, these are some of the peppers that were separated already. I like these containers because they're very compostable, but they also suck the water out of my plants. It's like, ooh, sandy water, like SpongeBob, get it? Okay, anyway. So it takes a lot of the water out of the plant, and it soaks up the nutrients as well, and we don't want that. So I completely tossed that, got rid of that, but I'm gonna keep those materials because it's a really nice layer at the very bottom of the soil. That way, like for instance, my planters have holes in the bottom, and right now they're indoors. So when I water my plants, that water will just drip off the bottom and hit the floor. But if I put the cardboard at the bottom that came from that pot, it'll soak up that water and keep my floors as dry as possible. So right now, this is what I mean by stability, because we are kind of taking the soil and compacting it around the plant, and that's holding it up, that's keeping it sturdy. I also have these little fake flower stems and whatnot, and sometimes they could be really good to hold up the plant, other times not so much. I don't think in this situation that it's a really good idea to have that in there, so I'm going to go ahead and remove that. But putting in more soil is really good for sturdiness and stability as well. But I'm just putting in right now some of those extra pepper plants that I had left over, just so they can all be in a nice environment with one another and get all that nutrients from this tropical potting soil. So just moving those things around. One thing that I do want you to be mindful of when you are transplanting your plants from one container to the next, yes, roots can go into shock, but at the end of the day, they are going to heal. You just have to make sure you get them in the soil and water them. There was once a time where I repotted my plants and I put them in the new soil. I packed it in tight. It was looking good, y'all. But then I came back a couple hours later, that baby was dried up, withered, and dead and gone. So make sure that once you transplant your plants and you have them in their new soil, you put water on them. It is absolutely vital that water acts as a sort of a glue and it really solidifies the plant in its space. It gets the roots to breathe and stretch. You know how you wake up in the morning and you do this like really nice yawn and stretch? It stretches and yawns out the roots to get them really comfortable in their new home, and it reduces the stress that the plants feel. So thank you all so much for tuning in today. I hope that this really helps you when it comes to transplanting, which means taking your plants from one pot to another. I used to have really bad anxiety attached to that, but now it just comes really natural. So the more that you do a thing, the better you'll be at it and the more comfortable you'll be at it. So have grace with yourself, have grace with the world around you, and as always, good luck on your journey.